Hey! So in my last video, I just showed you guys my $3,000 voice agent that I built for an HVAC and basically the prompts, the tools that I used, and the workflows. And additionally, there was a demo that I showed you guys and which was unfortunately not audible at all. So what I'm going to do is I'll just link the video in the description of that demo. So if you really want to, you can just go check it out. And if you haven't watched my previous video, I'll link that as well. So again, you can check it out. In this video, I'll actually walk you through very briefly on how I built this agent or what process did I follow for building this voice agent so that you can also build one for yourself. That's it. Let's get it. Okay, so first of all, it's about the AI agent structure planning process. I see a lot of YouTubers out there, the voice agent creators, and I don't often see them emphasizing the importance of structure planning while creating a voice agent, which is really necessary in my opinion. Just helps you clarify your mind out while this whole process of building a voice agent, and so that this you can execute it very smoothly, right? So first, the AI agent structure planning, and the first one that we'll get into is the WAPI prompt building. Yes, the WAPI prompt, or basically the voice agent prompt, requires a structure planning as well. Not complex enough, it's really simple. Just mention the functions that you want your voice agent to perform. So I need my agent to handle appointments, the bookings, cancellations, and basically that's going to be done by the end workflow. And the second function is that I need my voice agent to be able to handle all service pricing based inquiries, which is going to done through the KB, right, the knowledge base. Now, as I've stated both my functions, or basically all my functions, now I'm going to jump onto the voice agent's characteristics. So I need my voice agent to sound natural, fluent, and emphasize punctuations. It's basically the speech characteristics, but I usually pay a lot more attention to these because they do make the voice agent sound more natural and more human, which does improve the voice agent quality by a lot, I would say. Now, the fourth one is that I need to qualify the lead before booking an appointment for them, and that's gonna be done by KB as well. So basically, the knowledge base will include every information on how to qualify the other person or what questions to ask to qualify them. That's it. And the fifth one, another specification, which is the AI agent or the voice agent doesn't need to answer questions it's not sure about. So that's the fifth specification, and that's it. That's my whole WAPI prompt building structure planning. And let's just get into the end workflow planning as well, really quick. So the webhook, first of all, that will receive the tool call from WAPI. Now, if you have already got some experience with building voice agents, only then you must be understanding what I'm talking about, or else that'll be just flying above your head. So the first node that we're going to select is webhook, and then an AI agent, then a switch. Then a switch must be connected to three AI agents. That's basically my planning. If I just explain it in a short and brief way, that's basically going to be that whenever any appointment related activity is needed to be done, then the voice agent will call a tool. The tool will send a webhook request to this webhook node, which will then activate the AI agent that will format the date and time in ISO so that it doesn't face any time zone issues. Again, if you already have an experience with building voice agents, only then you must be understanding what the hell I'm talking about. But yeah, this AI agent will basically format the date and time in ISO, and then we will use a switch node, which basically processes the workflow route, or basically sends the workflow in a particular route, a particular direction, based on the appointment related activity that needs to be done. So basically, if we need to check availability in our calendar for any specific time slot, then the switch will guide the workflow into this particular node. If we want to book an appointment, then the switch will guide the workflow into this AI agent, and similarly for this cancel appointment as well. So basically, that's my whole structure planning. Now, because it's my planning according to my understanding, it is not necessary for you guys to be able to understand it. So if it still is flowing above your head, let it be. I'll just get into it and you'll gradually understand what the hell I'm talking about. So just stay tuned till the end of this video. Now, let's just get to our WAPI prompt building. So here you see is my WAPI dashboard, and here's the assistant. The model is Google Gemini 2.5 Flash that I've used for this. I did try GPT 4.0 and GPT 4.1, but Gemini 2.5 Flash just turned out to be better than them, so I used it. Now comes the main part of this voice agent, which is the system prompt. Now, for the system prompt, if I just really quickly show you the format that I've used, is first identity, then style and voice, then conversational flow, then scenarios, then it's dynamic variables, then it's tools, and at last it's notes. Now, we'll just go through all of these sections in a little bit more brief manner. So, for the first one, which is the identity, you're Sarah, a helpful virtual assistant for the True HVAC. You handle customer inquiries and handle appointments. That's it. You just have to mention the voice agent's name, their purpose, and who they work for. That's it in a single line, articulate and short. That's it. That's all you have to mention in this section. Then style and voice. It's be polite, concise, and respectful. Keep replies short and to the point. Use occasional fillers. Now, this is one of my secrets to creating very natural sounding voice AI agents, which is this prompt right here. Use occasional fillers, will so, pauses with ellipses. Then it is conversational flow. As you might see, it's like identify intent, handle based on the intent, and always ask if they need anything else before ending warmly. So it's basically like how most of the calls are gonna go, like how the conversation flow is gonna look like. In my case, it's like the other person will call the voice agent. The voice agent will assist them with whatever they need, and then they will end the call. That's it. That's the basic conversational flow that will be used in most of the conversations, right? That's all you have to mention here. Short and sweet, again. Then it's the scenarios. Now, scenarios is like what sort of scenarios or what sort of situations you want your voice agent to handle. So, in my case, I want my agent to handle general inquiries, one, and second, all the appointment related services. So, for the general inquiries, I've given it the knowledge base, which contains all the company's pricing, services, FAQs, etc. Then it's the second one is appointment handling, which handles the appointment booking, and appointment cancellation. You see, for this scenario, because it's a little bit complex one, or because I want my voice agent to go through this scenario with a some specific manner, with a particular step-by-step procedure. So I've mentioned all these steps here, which is ask them their appointment reason and appointment date time one by one. Also confirm customer time zone, these three dynamic variables, which are appointment reason, appointment date time, customer time zone. Now, you might think why I have mentioned customer time zone here, but it's just because sometimes mostly in US, what happens is you're not sure if the other person is calling you from the same time zone, or there are some time zone differences which might be there, which might cause errors later. So we don't want that for our case. That's it. Once the voice agent asks them the appointment reason and the appointment date time, customer time zone, then it'll run the tool HVAC Appointment Assistant, which is basically the tool that we're using for this voice agent. To process the request, customer intent is equal to check availability. Now you might think, what is this customer intent? I will explain it to you in a while. Let's just go through this prompt first. So the step two, collect the following information. So like once we have checked for the availability in our calendar for a specific date and time, then the user's credentials will be collected, which are customer name, customer number, and customer location. That's it. Then step three, once the credentials are collected, then the appointment time and the appointment time is confirmed as well. Then the tool will be run again with customer intent is equal to booking or canceling, whatever the required operation here is, and that's it. Then the step four is confirmation. Summarize clearly the date, time, reason, and location. Customer confirm your time zone alignment too. That's it. That's the scenario part of the prompts. Now it's the dynamic variables. You have to basically mention all the variables that you're going to be using throughout this voice AI automation, I would say, or this voice agent's behavior. So you might not be able to determine all the dynamic variables that are going to be used in this automation at the very start of this project, or basically at the very start of preparing this prompt for your voice agent. So basically, it's like gradually when you're into the process and when you're testing out your agents, when you're creating the automations and stuff, then it is that you slowly realize what all dynamic variables are eventually going to be required for the voice agent, right? That's it. Then the tool, you just have to mention the tool which is going to be used for this voice agent. So in my case, it's just a single tool which handles appointment availability, booking, and cancellation all at once, right? Now comes the notes section, in which basically you state all the notes or all the statements or all the prompts that you don't want your voice agent to forget at any point in the conversation. So in my case, if I just explain it with an example, whenever the voice agent was talking to a human, it was sometimes skipping asking for time zone, which was then opening some doors for errors to be created. So I wanted it to ask for time zone to the other user every time in every call, right? So I just mentioned it again that you never skip asking for time zone. So what actually happens is if you just mention these things again, which you never want your voice agent to forget, if you mention them in this notes section at the very last of this prompt, the voice agent would not forget any of these things while any point in the conversation, right? So you can see in my case, also here's just another variable. I've given the date it is today to the voice agent because a lot of the times LLMs and voice agents do not know which day is it today or which date is it today. For that reason, I have stated this variable, which basically determines the date is it today, complying with the time zone. So that's it. That's what I've used for my prompt. I usually keep my prompt this short. Now, another thing I would like to tell you is if you see here that my prompt is only this short, you might not want to create such short prompt for yourself at the very first, right? Just write up the prompt as long as it can be or as articulate you can make it uh, possibly. Just make it, just prepare the prompt, no matter how long it is. At the refining stage of the agent, which is basically the third or fourth step, just before the production of this of the agent, then you want to go through all the refining processes, which include the optimization of prompts, which then includes the shortening of these prompts, right? So at the very first, when you're building these prompts, you might not want to keep your prompts this short. Just let them be long, let them be containing all the information that you want it to have, right? That's it. So that's for our prompt. Now, if I just quickly show you some additional configurations. So this is the knowledge base that I've used for this voice agent. Max tokens 180. Temperature is 0 0.7. I usually keep it for my voice agents. And then the voice configuration, I've used an 11 labs voice here. Additional configurations, my customizations are something like these. 0.6, 0.7, 1.1, 0.1, and 2. You might want to use them for yourself as well, as I've tried a lot. I've actually experimented with a lot of these values, and this is the best result that I could find for myself. And also, never forget to add these punctuation boundaries because they do help a lot of the times in the conversations. So that's it. Just the comma, full stop, exclamation mark, and question mark. So that's it for our basic voice agent. Now, if I just really quickly show you the tool that I use for this voice agent, which is basically this HVAC appointment assistant. So here's the tool, which is basically an API request tool. If you go here, create tool, click on this API request, then create this tool, give it a name, give it a description, then request HTTP method into post, and the request body would contain all the variables that I want my voice agent to send to the automation to be able to proceed with any appointment related activity like booking or cancellation, right? So in my case, customer name, customer intent, number, location, customer time zone, appointment reason, and appointment date time. That's it. Again, you see this customer intent here, but just in a few minutes, I'm going to make you understand why I've used it here and what is its importance, right? So that's it for our tool. And now let's get into our end workflow. So, okay, let's go through the workflow and the nodes one by one. So first of all, I've used a webhook node which is set to HTTP method post because again in our WP tool, um, we have set the HTTP method to post because we're wanting to post or send some information, some values of these variables from the voice agent to the init workflow, right? So I've used post method, then set this respond to using respond to webhook node because in later in this prompt we're going to be using this respond to webhook nodes every time in this workflow. Next is the date and time model, which is basically the significance of this OpenAI chat model is going to be to format the date into ISO format. ISO format, again, which is going to be easily understandable for our Google Calendar tool or basically for our LLMs, right? So what happens is I've fed this date and time model with some variables that are going to be coming through the voice agent, the tool calling, right? And this is the prompt that I've given to it. You will be given a date and time and a time zone. Your role is to, from that input, output the date and time in ISO 8601 format, respecting the time zone given. That's it. And when no time is given, consider it 00000 and output the ISO time format within a field's appointment ISO. Why I've written this? Because sometimes it just tends to output the value of the time in fields like appointment ISO, sometimes ISO appointment, sometimes appointment date time, sometimes appointment time ISO. So it's like if the name of those fields varies, I won't be able to use those fields later on in this workflow, right? Again, if you're already familiar with N8N or you've used it before, only then you must be knowing what I'm talking about. So yep, that's it. And then the other node we have here is the caller intent, which basically determines what the caller's intent is, or basically what the intent of calling this workflow is. Either it's checking availability or booking appointment or canceling appointment, right? So I'll just show you with an example of like what actually I'm talking about. So I'll just click on execute workflow. I'll go to WAPI, my assistant. I'll just have a very quick chat with it. On my assistant, I wanna look at appointments. What's the reason? AC is not working. Now it's asking me the date and time. Let's say 24 October, 8 p.m. Right. What time zone are you located in? So I'll just say America, New York. Now it's calling the workflow. You see the workflow has been activated and it has gone through the successful path. Then when we come here, great, it looks like that time is available. Now to finalize the booking, could I please get your name? That's it, right? Now I'll just show you what the workflow looks like with the examples of these variables. So first in this chat model, as I've given it these variables, which are basically the appointment date time and this, okay, you might not be able to see this right now, but right. So this variable, appointment date time, I've fed it here. And the similarly, this time zone one, which is the customer time zone, that's the variable here, which I've given to it as the user prompt. Then in this caller intent model, what happens is in the user prompt, I've given it the customer intent variable or the field which is incoming from that voice agent, and in the prompt section, in the system prompt section, I've given it the prompt. The task is you will be given an input. You simply have to categorize the intent as any one of these, either booking appointment or cancel appointment or check availability or reschedule appointment. Let's just ignore reschedule appointment for a while because in this one we're just focusing on booking appointment, checking availability, and canceling appointment. So that's it. That's for our OpenAI model. And then you see this switch node works as a path director, which happens based on the customer intent. So if the intent is booking appointment, it would direct the workflow here, which is this one. And then if the intent is checking availability like there, like just happened, it'll direct the workflow here. And similarly, if the um, thing is canceling appointment, it'll direct the workflow here. So you see, this is basically a workflow. The left part of this workflow, we just understood the significance of it, and now is the turn for the right part of this workflow. So let's just quickly go through all these nodes and what I've fed the prompt into those. So for the book appointment AI agent node, this is the user message, which is an appointment is to be booked for, so let's say an appointment is to be booked for 8 September, uh, 5 p.m., right? This is how it looks like. Then for the system message, it's you're an AI agent responsible for creating events, booking appointments into the internal Google Calendar tool. Then the tools, which is Google Calendar Create Appointment, which I've used to integrate with this AI agent. Use this tool to create an event into the calendar using the information provided to you in the input. Then the output is do not mention anything else in the output other than the confirmation message, because this output we're going to be feeding into the voice agent, which is going to be then getting forwarded to the customer, right? So let's say this AI agent just books an appointment and outputs something like the appointment was successfully booked. So this output, word by word, will go to the voice agent and it will then tell that to the customer, right? That's it. Then we've added this respond to a book node, which is basically gonna tell the voice agent what result of the tool calling was, right? Now in this trade appointment tool, this is it. Operation create resource event. The start time of the appointment that we're going to be booking is as it is the appointment ISO that we just determined in that date and time chart model, which formatted it into ISO format. That's it. And ending 30 minutes after this time. So again, if you're wondering, this is just a variable which just says that this time is 30 minutes later or 30 minutes after this particular time. So we're just assuming our appointment here is just lasting for 30 minutes. That's it. These are basically the prompts you have to feed in here, and then it's some information about the event, like the description and the location and the summary, which are going to be visible in your Google Calendar event. So you can just feed them here as you want or as you see. Okay. So that's it. That's for our booking appointment. Then for the check availability, the AI agent just looks like the user message is check availability for, and then the appointment ISO, which is basically the date and time formatted in the ISO format. It would say something like check availability for this 2025 1024 T20, etc., etc. And then the system message, which is you're an AI agent responsible for checking time slot availabilities in your internal Google Calendar tool. Then tool is Google Calendar check availability. Use this tool to check availabilities in the calendar. And then task is out of all the available slots scraped from the Google Calendar, only select the ones that are between 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. If none are scraped, it means the slots are all available. So basically, we have trained this AI agent to scrape all the time slots which are already booked to then determine which are not booked. So let's say our working hours are from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. What happens is we'll call this agent and let's say an appointment is already booked for 3 p.m. So it'll format all the other time slots except that 3 p.m. one, which are then available. It'll return the result here, and then we'll be able to determine more clearly which time slot is available and which isn't, right? Now, for if you're just wondering that I asked for the voice agent for the availability of 8 p.m. in the evening, and in this system message, I've fed the AI agent that only the slots between 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. should be formatted. Then the thing is, I asked for the time slot availability of 8 p.m. America, New York, while I am in IST. So the 8 p.m. in America, New York time zone, that must be getting included somewhere between 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. IST, because I am in IST right now and my Google Calendar is connected to IST time zone. So, yep, that's it. For this Google Calendar tool, the check availability, you can see Operation Get Many Resource Event, and after the time that was formatted, the appointment ISO, and then before again that variable before 12 hours of this particular time, so that if we're checking for an availability for 3 p.m., so it will check all the availabilities from 3 p.m. to 3 a.m., right? So basically, it just determines all the available time slots so that if one doesn't work, then the other would work. Now, for here, it is somewhat different from these two, if you see. Here, we'll have to first retrieve the event that we want to cancel. So, in order to retrieve that event, we will need all the event information. So if we are wanting to cancel an appointment, then the voice agent will ask the other person for their name, for their phone number, the time slot at which they booked the appointment, and their appointment reason. That's it. So based on the appointment time, it would then retrieve this event. If you see, let's say again, this is the time that the user told the voice agent. It was 5 p.m., let's say, okay? 5 p.m., then it'll check for the time slot which is available from, which is booked at 5 p.m. Till 5:30, again 30 minutes. So 5 p.m. to 5:30. If a slot is there, it will then retrieve the event ID, which is then needed for this remove event tool, remove event Google Calendar tool, as you see. It's just one field which is event ID, which is required to delete any event. So this retrieve event is basically getting us the event ID, which we are then feeding to this Google Calendar tool, and it's basically deleting the appointment, right? And you see the operation is delete resource event. Uh, this is it. And the AI agent, I've fed it the prompt as the user message, and the event ID is JSON ID, which is again the output of this particular node. Then in the system message, it is you're an AI agent responsible for removing events and appointments from your internal Google Calendar tool. Google Calendar remove event, use this tool to remove an event from the calendar. If the input does not include any event, it means there was no appointment at the given time. That's it. That just means if I just ask the voice agent to cancel my appointment, which was booked for 4 p.m., it then checks for the appointment which is booked from 4 p.m. to 4:30. And if there was no appointment booked in the first place, then it simply means there will be no event ID retrieved. And then the agent must understand that if there's no event ID, that means there was no appointment booked in the first place. So it'll just state that into its output and tell the voice agent that there was no booked appointment for this particular time. And then the user would be told that the time you're giving us is basically wrong. There's no appointment for blah blah blah. Right? That was some crazy ass explanation right there. I hope I did make it really comfortable for you to understand and really easy for you to understand. Now, let's just really quickly go through some live demos and while watching these workflows so it becomes even more easier for you to understand and just feed this whole concept into your head, right? Let's get into the demo. All right, so let's get started with our first demo. I'm just going to call the agent through my phone and yep, let's see how the workflow executes.
How may I assist you?
Hi Sarah, I just need to book an appointment. My AC isn't working actually.
Oh, I see. I can help you with that. And what day and time would you like to book the appointment for?
Um, let's say for 25 October 4 p.m.
And what time zone are you in?
It's IST. The workflow is executed.
Okay, so great. The 4 p.m. slot on October 25th IST is available. Could I please get your name, phone number, and the service location?
Sure, my name is Shiv. My phone number is the one that I'm calling from, and the service location is Brooklyn Street 123.
All right, Asif, your appointment for AC repair at 123 Broken Street on October 25th at 4 p.m. IST has been successfully booked. Is there anything else I can assist you with today?
No, I guess that's all. Thanks. Alright, so that was pretty much the demo. Now, I must tell you that the prompts that I've shown you and the workflow that I showed you, these are the basic ones. They haven't refined to the best. I'll be very honest. These are not production ready. The ones that are production ready, I've not showed them in this video because it might have been really difficult for you to understand or to actually um, digest those prompts or workflows into your mind at once, right? So this was some basic stuff, and it might already been having some errors. But still, if you want the production ready workflow, and if you are already familiar with all this VP, NitN, and voice agent automation stuff, then I would be very happy to create another video with that production ready workflow and that production ready voice agent, basically, with all the refined agent workflows and refined agent prompts. So, yep, that's it for the video. Also, I did not show you the proof. Like, this is the appointment. It did understand my name here. So, yeah, appointment with Asif. AC isn't working, 4 p.m. That's it. That was the voice agent that I had to show you. Now, if you did like it, be sure to drop a like in the video and drop some feedbacks in the form of comments. I'll be really happy to see. And if I really made all this easy to understand for you, then be sure to subscribe as well. I mean, not begging, but requesting. Thanks.